Gather around the college hoop diehards. It's another Saturday, Spinny Saturday edition of the college basketball three-man week best bet show, whatever order you want to put that in. Matthew Cox running the show tonight. Jim Root with a well-oiled spinny top. Mine's gotten chewed and basically bogged down by father time. Kai, you're the other person joining us as
I
well.
am.
Fellas, how are you today? I'm excited to run through this quickly, dissect this not so sexy slate, and then watch my Indiana Hoosiers compete admirably against the Buckeyes.
But not win. You can't even dream of winning.
No,
Are you going to watch
absolutely
that
not.
game?
Where are we gonna watch it? I don't know.
No. Are you going to watch it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't really care about Indiana football, to be honest.
Most people didn't until this week, so I'm
Uh-huh.
a part of that swath of invaders. Yeah.
Yes.
Good stuff.
As Pat points out in the chat, you do like to say tonight in our morning podcast and our morning best bet show recordings. It's endearing. It's wonderful.
Wait, say what?
You say tonight, like I'm hosting the show tonight. It's 10 in the morning.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Hey, I'm just always in
Surprised
prime
him.
time, Pat. I'm always in prime time. Hey, Pat, pipe down. All right. I don't need to hear from you today. All right, Pat in the chat. Less. I need less from Pat in the chat. Fellas, let's talk about today's slate. Again, kind of lackluster. A lot of these MTE tournaments are taking the day off. The bigger games are tomorrow. So maybe we can, I don't know, sprinkle in some takes for tomorrow if you guys have questions in the chat mob. But we have a pretty good slate today, including a game that tips in 2 seconds. Which I think we'll kind of get through maybe a live bet action there. But we have some decent other, last hurrah games before MTEs next week, which will be kind of the big week with Thanksgiving. Takeaways from last night, Jim, I'll go to you first. A lot of action, a lot of losers for Matthew on the betting column, but what did you learn?
Hey, same, Matthew. The VCU giving up a buzzer beating three was the one that really broke me when I had plus 2.5. That one hurt. But Tennessee continues to roll. I'm a little skeptical of Tennessee still. Lanier is 16 of 28 from three in their three biggest games. They played Louisville, who is all brand new people, Virginia, who sucks, and Baylor off double overtime. So I'm not totally sold yet, Kai, on the Vols. Gonna need to see a little bit more still. But the one other one I'm impressed with is Iowa plays defense now.
They
Apparently.
do.
They did not win, but this was a bad preseason take for me that they're going to be same old Iowa. Slowed down game. They did lose to Utah State. Nice win for the Aggies. But Kai, that's one I'm having to own right now.
Yep, it's like it's Fran's best defense since something like 2016 or so. And if you watch the games, they kind of get up in pressure and they're a little bit athletic now in the backcourt and chaos. Yeah, my three takeaways here. Betting feast week is hard. Every year it's difficult. So just realize a lot of random results out there. I think Duke rocks.
Less is more.
I think
Less is
Wisconsin
more.
rocks. I think Tennessee rocks, Jim. I'm in on the Vols. I think they're legitimately awesome. I was wrong about Chaz Lanier. I'm ready to kind of hand up and say I was incorrect. And then Mountain West. How about two huge wins? You mentioned Nevada. Also, Utah State. You mentioned both. Utah State and Nevada scoring huge tournament caliber resume wins for the Mountain West. They're not going
away from home.
Away from home.
Non-elevation. That's big.
Yeah, that's all I got, Matt. We can start on the show if you want.
Yeah, I mean, Mountain West overall, good weekend for the Mountain West. A lot of close wins. The A10 actually mustered some decent wins as well, except for the poor Billikens, who are kind of the walking wounded right now and tough start after all the hubbub with Mr. Shirts walking into that new regime. But hey, plenty of time. No time to discuss this first one, but let's get some quick takes on it anyway. Marquette, Georgia. Let's just get to it. Pre-game thoughts, maybe live thoughts, Kai. Do we have a stream up or is there no stream?
Nah.
At
Flow,
this,
it's on Flow Hoops, so I'm not watching it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'll just set the stage with it. It's very odd that St. John's is going to be playing two games in the Bahamas at different arenas. So St. John's obviously lost to Baylor on that crushing, shouldn't have counted buzzer beater, Jeremy Roach, Baylor. Bounced back and just absolutely annihilated Virginia, who is a team that's a bunch of zombies. We can talk about them later. That's a disaster. And then they play Georgia tomorrow. So Georgia actually has a back-to-back tomorrow, Kai. They play Marquette today. Marquette off two Mondo wins, Purdue and at Maryland. Before that, Cam Jones, All-American. So a lot of moving situational parts here. Thoughts? I'll give you the floor.
I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts. Game started. I don't know what to tell people on that, but I leaned Georgia pre-tip. I've said to these guys in our internal group chat, like, whoa, they might actually be legit. They have serious talent. I thought coming into the year they'd be a little bit young, but Tyron Lawrence is a senior. Lefeu is a fifth-year senior, I think. They've got a little bit of adults in the room to go along with Newell, Cyril, Demery, Kane. Got some talent, and I prefer Mike White as an underdog. So Kai, I leaned their way, but again, game started, so I'm not gonna
Game
put
started.
too
I'm
much
on
on it.
Marquette -6. Go
All
Marquette.
right. Next, I feel like there should be good live betting opportunities in this game. Young team, I could see some pretty massive
No,
runs,
the,
especially
the FIU Bakersfield one is the live betting
Oh,
game, Matthew,
yes,
right?
which tips
Yes.
off in 50
Now.
minutes. Yeah, that's an 11
No,
tip,
it's
right?
now. It's now.
Oh, it's on now too. Okay.
Yep.
10 a.m. games are stupid. All right. Let's go to the West Coast. Again, games I'm looking to handicap more intimately would certainly be ones at true home venues. Santa Clara hosting Kai, the tree of Stanford.
Mhm.
Not a big travel for the Cardinal, who have looked very good under Kyle Smith in his first regime. A lot of young guys stepping up. Jalen Blakes has been phenomenal. Just one of many Duke castaways, to find greener pastures elsewhere. But I'll be honest, I like the Broncos tonight. I think Herb Sendek I think they kind of put that little rut to bed. Emphatic win over UC Riverside last game. I think they get it tonight again.
Cal Poly, not Santa Clara. So Cal Poly St. Mary's is the first game on the board. Matthew, you did not see our update, apparently.
Yeah,
No, I did not.
Doesn't read our chat.
Our
Doesn't
first
read our
game is
chat.
Cal Poly at St. Mary's, as the rundown says. I love
You
Matthew.
did change it. Why did we change the rundown? Why don't we just
Because
Because
Marquette
Marquette
Georgia
started at
tips at
10.
10 a.m. There was a whole discussion this morning in our chat that you did not look at.
Sorry.
All right, Cal Poly. Yes, we love the Stangs. 4-1 against the spread, +8 cover margin.
Why don't we just okay?
They've taken money every single game except today. People are betting on St. Mary's. That's scary. I agree. The Gales are a scary team. They can grind teams down to a pulp. Offensive glass is a major edge for St. Mary's. I'm a little bit scared there. But I think Poly can score, Jim. I don't think they need to go to the paint. They can all shoot. And this is a more forgiving Gales defense than in the past. I think 22 is too much. So I put a little bit on Cal Poly.
I didn't, Kai, and these are my Stangs. I've been hyping them since I wrote the preview for the Big West back in like September. I was really excited about them. I'm glad they've delivered on some of that potential so far this year. But yeah, I'm worried about this one. Mainly the offensive glass, like you said. That's how St. Mary's has been mega efficient on offense, top 20 in the country right now because they get every single offensive rebound. Saxon and Wessels are beasts. Morauskas is a monster in there. So even if they miss, they get a putback, and they're going to do that against a tiny, tiny Cal Poly team.
Yeah.
On the other end, yeah, I mean, the SMC is like one of the biggest drop coverage teams in the country. So they're not helping off of shooters. You're going to have to score in the mid-range, Matt. That's your boy, Jared Hyder. See if he can knock down some of those shots and maybe stress the defense a little bit. But also St. Mary's, you don't think of them as a team that gets beat on cuts. And that's something that Cal Poly's great at, like off the ball, they stay moving. I think St. Mary's will be disciplined on that. So I was too scared to take my Stangs today. I guess they are now Kai's Stangs honorary
I've
because
been on
backed
every
them
game.
today.
They can be my Stangs as well, Jim.
Today they're yours. I'm
Okay.
conceding that
All right.
they're yours because I did not back them. But also lean to the over, Matt. St. Mary's, Wisconsin, they're over machines right now.
Yeah, they are both walking into. They're trying to debunk all the shade they've been given. They're trying to avoid the Virginia sort of black sheep branding.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love Poly. I worry about Jim. To your point, can they get their cuts? They got in the lane really easily against Arizona State. I think Arizona or St. Mary's will come out and defend the three, but they play more drop, and I think it's just harder to get in creases there. They're going to have to make some deep threes. But yeah, nothing for me. I think St. Mary's is just such a tough team to fade, especially with even good mid majors. They're just so surgical. They're not going to be outcoached or outsmarted. And the way Saxon is owning the rim, I do worry about that. There wasn't not a ton of rim protection for Poly against Arizona State from what I watched. All right, so now we go to the rundown wasn't updated. I'm just assuming you inserted the one before. So we're gonna go to Santa Clara now.
It was updated.
Yep.
Yeah. I sent the updated rundown to the group.
Well, no, you sent the rundown, then you sent, we're gonna update it, and then said we're swapped that game. So the rundown actually was not updated.
It was. We said we were swapping Cal Poly and St. Mary's in for.
So now do we
Georgia
talk
Marquette.
Stanford, Santa
Yep.
Clara?
Yes, because
Okay.
that's how that usually works.
Great.
Bay Area
Gotcha.
battle.
Okay. I am big on Santa Clara. Kai, who do you like in this game?
Santa Clara. Yes. I think Stanford is quite good. I'm coming around to that, but 343rd ranked schedule. This is the best team they've faced by a good margin. Clara is hard to get a handle on. I'm still in the camp of they're a really good team. Matt mentioned they smoked UC Riverside. That's a very good bounce back. They have size to match up with the tree, but that slices both ways. Can Santa Clara do well against a team that can match up with them physically? Nevada crushed them. So maybe that's kind of a bad thing for Santa Clara. I'm going with the Bronx. They're more experienced overall than Stanford. They're deeper, and they need this win. And they're at home. and hopefully that momentum from UC Riverside kind of propels them here. So I'm on Santa Clara as well, Matthew.
Yeah, Kai, you hit a bunch of my points here, so I won't belabor it too long. But yeah, the fact that it's Stanford's first real test. I mean, Norfolk State is the best team they played. Norfolk State gave them a heck of a battle already. So now they go on the road. I think Santa Clara will be rocking. I know that they had an awesome home atmosphere when they knocked off Gonzaga last year. I would imagine for an ACC team across the Bay, they're going to have a pretty solid crowd there as well. And then, yeah, the positional size, I think, is one of the biggest things that Stanford has rolled on teams with, and Santa Clara matches and exceeds them. Both these teams are top 40 in average height per KenPom. Santa Clara actually ranks higher. So, Matthew, I'm with both of you. Santa Clara for me, I bet them.
This feels like one of those bets where I'm too confident in it and there's things I'm missing. So I try to go back and go through the schematical. The one concern for Santa Clara backers, again, I'm among them, I stand among you, is defending the 3-point line. Stanford's really shot the ball well. They're really good at getting open looks. They have all that gravity that Max Reynaud attracts up front. You have to collapse, shooters galore. Santa Clara, as much as we revere Sendek, and I think we all agree he's still a great coach. Offensively, they don't look super organized, and defensively, especially, they've given up a ton of open threes this season from what I've watched. So, I think there might be some tinkering still with the Broncos, but I think this spot's too good to pass up. So, final thoughts on the Buck and Bronx. Let's go to another fun home dog spot. Or sorry, I guess it's a Santa Clara, Stanford, about a pick. It's been hovering around that all morning, just for context. So 146 to total. I did want to say I kind of like the over. I think there's a lot of points in that game. All right, to Georgia Tech hosting Cincinnati. Kai, I got that right. Damon Stoudemire, I'll be honest, tough start for Damon and what was supposed to be a insurgent Yellow Jacket team this season. I know they have a little bit of injuries. They've had some depth issues. Luke O'Brien missed a couple of games. He just came back. And Cincy is up to 12th in KenPom. So, I mean, I don't know if you're ever going to see a better sell high spot if you believe Cincy may not be the 12th best team in the country. What do you think here?
Cincy's awesome. They could be a juggernaut. They could be top 15. They're number 1 in effective field goal percentage offensively. They're number 4 in effective field goal percentage defensively. But I said it was Stanford. Their schedule's been soft. It's number 348 right now in the country. This is their first true road game. They played NKU. That's like, I don't know, a stone's throw from their campus.
They used to play home games at NKU. Right. That's how close it is.
Yeah, you're right. Tech hasn't been good, man, but they still have talent on this team. I look at this roster and I see their starting lineup. I'm like, this is a talented squad. I think they can match up with Cincy athletically, at least. They do take away the 3 at a high rate. I think that's important against the Bearcats. I'm hoping the home floor juices them a bit. I took Georgia Tech plus 7.5. I'm a sucker, Jim. I know Cincy's way better, but I think that was just too many points.
Hey, Air 5 to being suckers, Kai. I am also on the Yellow Jackets, and I was probably the lowest of most people that even assessed them this year. Coming into the year, I was like, yeah, I don't think Georgia Tech is good. I think people are overhyping the McCollum edition, but I think it's a really good spot. I think Cincinnati is a little overvalued. I don't think Seamus Lukosius is going to shoot 70% from 3 this year. My Cincinnati buddy, big Bearcat fan, texted me this morning a little bit worried about this game. I think we had some Cincy fans in the Discord that were like, early tip. Like, I don't feel great about that. So I'm sticking with Georgia Tech here, Matt. My number is lower than 7.5. I think both these teams have gone in such different directions early in the year, but this is a little bit of an equalizer game for both. I think the Yellow Jackets hang around.
It does give me deja vu of the spot Georgia Tech beat Duke in last year as a home dog. I believe that was, early December, 2:30 tip. And at that point, we thought Duke was kind of awesome. And I think that was sort of like oh, wow, Georgia Tech. And it was just one of those pure spot games, right? Georgia Tech came out and played well, young team at home, raucous crowd. And I do think the revenge factor from last year, the final was 89-54. So, I mean, this was a complete pulverization last season. I got to think guys like Nathan George remember that. So, I have not played that yet, but that was a good workshop. I might be adding that before the show ends. Thank you guys for convincing me to trust
it's worth mentioning, no Skillings. Cincinnati's deep, Skillings. But he matters, like especially in a big road game. You want the veteran guy instead of Tyler Betsy or whatever. So yeah,
Wes Miller continues to. I didn't think he mattered as much, but for a team as that deep, but he continues to underscore how important he is, and I think the locals have confirmed that. All right, let's head up to the Northeast where we go to the Mohegan Sun. Fun little MTE showdown here. Another weird scheduling quirk where you have with these triangular series where teams kind of do the round robin, day off, and back to back. Temple UMass. The Minutemen, Jim. It's been a minute, haha, since Frank Martin's really gotten this thing going without interruption. We know his teams are always very inconsistent. This year, no different. They've been close in a few of these games, but I don't know. I'm sort of from a vibe meter. UMass doesn't sound like a great situation right now. That's just my sense.
Yeah, I would tend to agree there. And Kai and I came to the conclusion yesterday watching Temple that they are low IQ.
They are.
So that they are a very, very frustrating squad. But UMass, I think even UMass fans would say they're a little bit frustrating too. I'm curious what both of you think. Is there more of a disadvantage for the one team playing back to back, or do they have the advantage of having played on the court, gotten used to the sight lines, gotten acclimated? I would tend to say that the back to back team is a little more disadvantaged. So I gave a little bit of a nudge towards UMass here. But Kai, I don't trust really either team. I made the line about what it is. This is a big stay away for me.
Yeah, big toss up. I stayed away as well. I don't know, to answer your question. It's a
I
good one,
overthought
Jim.
that too, Jim. I did overthink that. Also,
Yeah,
did you
okay.
lose the day before? Did you win the day before? Are you an
Yeah.
at-large team? Are you not? Like what? I don't know.
It's a flip
It's
flop
tough.
for there. Yeah, Temple's a low IQ team, man. I mean, watching them play, they're not well coached, and maybe it's the coach's fault, maybe it's the player's fault, but they had every opportunity to come back against Florida State. They threw it away. They took bad shots. They made poor choices. Played horrible defense. They are on my shit list this year. I expected big things from Temple, and like just an example. Not getting Jamal Mashburn the ball on like 5 straight possessions at the end of the game when he's the only guy that could really create anything is shocking to me. Number 55, I didn't get his name.
They miss your
Tizzoni.
boy Greer, Kai.
He's
I think they
horrible.
miss Greer.
Tizzoni is bad.
He's horrible.
They
He should
need
not be
Greer
on the
bad.
floor. Anyways, I don't think UMass is great either, but Frank Martin's a better coach right now than Adam Fisher for sure. And the men should own them on the glass. I think they're the more disciplined team as well. I lean UMass.
Yeah, this is an easy stay away for me. So -1. It's basically been there. Yeah, basically a coin flip here. Total 148. Which this game does feel like it could be chaotic. And a lot of Frank Martin UMass teams just seem like there's sometimes a little too like in like the Penny Hardaway Memphis team, just like whoa, let's just reel it in a little bit, guys. Like everything's just kind of bouncing off the walls like pinballs. That's why I don't know, betting UMass is never a fun adventure. I'll just say that. That concludes our initial segment, Chat Mob round 1.
Here we go. Chat Mob. I'm the czar today, fellas. I love it. Matt, I got a hot one for you. I think you might have an opinion on this one. Fresno State and Long Beach. I know Long Beach took a little bit of money to start. I think they're up to -3 right now in markets. Your thoughts?
I think a week ago I would have laid it with Long Beach, but I don't trust this Long Beach team. I know they just got basically punched in the face by Gonzaga with the revenge angle from Monson. But Fresno getting my boy Morsek back, Jimbo, gives him some punch, some muscle up front. And I think we all agree that we probably undersold their talent coming in the year. So I now have more respect for Fresno than I did about a week or two ago. I am now staying away in a spot that I thought I'd be backing Long Beach in, frankly.
Best bet under. Best bet under.
Ooh.
More sec back in there, I think helps the interior. Zayon Collins has been out or missed last game for Fresno, the starting point guard. That helps the under a little bit too. And Alex Crawford, a wing that can shoot a little bit for Fresno, missed last game. Beach has been a mega under team. I think the under's been taking money basically every time they played. Under 142. Best bet, Kai.
All right, we got some.
Beach is just like
Sorry.
a really bad San Diego State version. Like Acker, former Aztec assistant, gritty, defensive. Yeah, ugly. I agree.
We got some sicko questions in the chat. I love it. So Lamar and Alabama State. I actually have money on this game. I took Lamar plus 2.5. Found a 2.5 out there. There's some 2 out there. I think Alabama State's really good. I even said to Matt preseason, I was like, whoa, this team should maybe be higher in the SWAC standings. But I'm also quite high on Lamar. They hung in there with Akron. They covered, but they're losing my trust a little bit. I was on them in a previous matchup as well. But I think they should be favored in this game. So I am on Lamar for a bit there. No really fun or interesting.
Yeah, no opinion
reasons.
there. I'm torn.
Jim, you get Furman and Charleston Southern. Furman, every single game we've seen, Charleston Southern's spreads are basically just to the moon against them. People are very well aware of their personnel issues. So Furman is actually down to 9, open 10. Your thoughts?
It would lean Furman on the side, just unless Charleston Southern gets debuts from, I believe, Sumler and Patrick are the 2 big ones that have been out. Need those guys back in there. Furman's look decent relative to the fact that they lost Jalen Sullinger midway through the offseason and didn't really have time to find a replacement, but did not bet the side there, Kai, slightly to the under.
All right, Matthew, you get another fun SWAC game here. Prairie View A&M is going Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado's been really impressive. No surprise,
Mhm.
the over has been slammed. That's kind of an obvious play with how PVA&U has been playing this year. I actually stayed away from it though. I think no call
Yeah.
can kind of muck it up. But your thoughts on this game? Northern Colorado's laying 19 now in some spots.
This is the part of the schedule where, with these SWAC teams, MEAC teams, they've been on these world tours. They may have impressed you at times. You might even think they're good, but there's usually one or two where there's just like a complete meltdown, and it's just there's no heart. What like every year you can find one of the two of these teams that just lose by 40 or 50 in these spots. Where I'm with you, it just does feel like the spread's big. But two concerns: no rebounding for the Panthers. They are tiny, tiny, tiny. Northern Colorado's not going to kill you on the glass, but they do have some size and they can score inside. And I watched them play last game. Sorry, long-winded rant here, but I was very impressed with the Bears. That's all I want to say. I kind of like this team. It's very good.
All right, Jimbo, you get Purdue and Marshall. The Boilers are laying 20 against the Thundering Herd in Mackey, 11 a.m.
Boiler up for me. I think it's going to be tough for Marshall to be locked in right away early. You get Purdue off a loss, and these really good teams off a loss coming home to a bye game have been rock solid. Look at Duke against Wofford. I think Illinois is another example of it today, coming home against a terrible Eastern Shore team. I think that's worth a look there. Kai, I took Purdue.
Another question in a little SWAC battle here. Alabama A&M and Coastal Carolina. Famous last words. I was confused about this spread. I laid 2 with Coastal. It's my best bet. Coastal Carolina -2. Best bet for Kai.
I did too, Kai, and I worry that as the SWAC expert of the group here, I do worry I maybe undersold Alabama A&M. But I'm with you.
Why?
I'm walking
What have
into
they
that
done
trap.
what have they
I don't
done
know.
that made you think they've been horrible this year? Horrible.
They've
I'm
been
with you guys on
horrible?
Coastal.
Okay, good.
Knock on
Wood
Horrible,
there.
horrible.
Good. Knock on wood there.
I'm just saying, if Matt's saying he might have undersold them, I don't know if they've covered a game yet. Like they've been really
Oh
bad.
yeah, you're right. I guess they
I
got
think
crushed
you
by.
I think you put them pretty high, didn't you, Matt, in your SWAC?
God,
standings? I know it's
this
hard
is
to
basically
remember.
like
They all
a-
run together.
it is
I'll
a
just
boat
say,
race.
Matt, I'm 3-0 betting against Alabama A&M, and they played 3 D1 games. So
Are you really? Okay, good, good.
I'm,
All right.
I'm,
Well,
I'm,
then you're
I'm
right. I
against
had
them
them
again
lower,
today.
and I've
Go
been right
Coastal.
so far. Although Jim, very impressed in their
This
first
shall
3
not
against non-D1
be
teams.
the first one. This shall not be the first loss. 4-0 for Jim coming up. Okay, last question before we get to more rundown. We'll do the rest at the end of the show. Stony Brook and Columbia. To be honest, Matt, this one kind of flew under my radar. Didn't realize this was the game going on. I made the spread what it is, around 11, 11.5. Columbia rocks. Stony, I think, better than I expected a little bit, but I stayed away. Your thoughts?
I'm not sure. I might push back on Stony. I think Stony's a little bit brittle this season. I don't love laying 11 with Columbia. I know they're good and deep and experienced, I suppose. But we saw Stony Brook compete with not Marquette. No, definitely not with Marquette against someone.
Central Michigan's the only good
Central
game
Michigan.
they played.
Yeah, but that's about it. So I'm in the Stony Brook's not that good, but I don't want to lay 11 points with Columbia. So
Hey, don't be scared, man. They play a fun style. They're fast.
they have been good. They have been good.
Okay, let's go back to the rundown here, and then we'll hit the rest of chat mob questions at the end. You already got 2 best bets from Jim and I, or me. It's probably me in that scenario, me and Jim. Anyways, we're going to wait. Sorry, Matt. Back to you. I forgot you're hosting.
Back to me. Focus. Come on, lock in. Grammar police. Yeah, let's go to the beach. Let's go get away. Hey, let's go get Daytona Beach, the final. What an awesome game. Awesome coaches, awesome programs. UC San Diego, the Tritons, as they are not called, against the Rocket Ships, as they are also not called. Todd Kowalczyk, again, I give this team a lot of credit every year. They're still even better than I thought again this season. I had to raise their rating a few times. They've played some teams in good spots and still taking care of business. They used to kind of mess around with some of these mid and lows, but they've really put teams, kept them at arm's length. Jim, UC San Diego, I think more impressive defensively than I thought this year. That was sort of my question coming in. It does feel like there's a lot of points in this game, but maybe it turns into kind of a nip-tuck type affair. Total sitting about, I think, mid-150s right now, 154, and the spread is basically -1 coin flip.
Yeah, I'm continually impressed with Kowalczyk. It's like a brand new team. Okay, they're going to be top 50 on offense again. They shot the lights out from 3 yesterday, 56%. So maybe a little regression coming back there, but they also don't take that many threes. They're not super reliant on them. I kind of like UC San Diego here. I just think they've come together a little bit quicker. Or at least they have more back. Hayden Gray at point, Tyler McGuy. I thought it was McGee all last season. Finally
McGuy,
watched
yeah.
UC San Diego game, and it's McGuy. He can shoot. And their D2 guys have been really great additions. They fit in well. So Kai, I lean towards the Tritons. Did not bet this one though.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of UCSD. I don't know. Hey, Day 3 of a tournament here. We talked about back-to-backs. This is day 3. They are 361st in bench minutes this year. Not a deep team, the Tritons. 4 guys have been playing nearly the entire game for them. Toledo's not as deep, not a hugely deep team as well, but still, maybe a little bit of advantage there. Yeah, Matt's right. The Rockets are their usual selves. It's another top 50 offense combined with a poor defense. The Tritons have been pretty good at creating a little havoc, turning teams over.
I know. Yeah.
You can't do that against Toledo. They're the second best turnover rate team in the country. Fantastic offensively. The Rockets have stopped nobody on the defensive end. I agree with Jim. Magai, he's the man. And Toledo's lack of perimeter pressure, I think, is going to be a problem against the Tritons. I think they score pretty easily. It's a toss-up for me. I made the game about where it is, but I would lean towards the Tritons if forced to pick a side in this one.
I lean toward Toledo. I do forget guys like Chris Howell are on this UC San Diego, like a legitimate role player for St. Mary's, a very good defensive team. So I mean, having guys like that for a team that's very offensive, skill based, and constructed has gave them some balance that they need. So that's probably my favorite game of the day to watch, just to kind of put a bow on that. But no action there for me. The third place game in this same field, James Madison against Jacksonville State. Jim, you've been sort of alerting me to the Gamecocks having more talent than I bargained for in the preseason. As you mentioned, almost beat Toledo yesterday despite a red-hot shooting performance from the Rocket ships. What's your breakdown here of this kind of battle of transfers, so to speak?
Yeah, I thought James Madison would play a little faster this year. I thought this would be, battle of pace. Jacksonville State wants to slow it down, but both teams are kind of crawling. Third day of the tournament, like we said, maybe you get sort of an under tilt there, especially given the efficiency of a Jack State game yesterday. But someone pointed out in the Discord how good Jaron Pierre has been for Jacksonville State. And my boy, Zhao Atuka, starting to look good too. He's back at the level he belongs at. He was fantastic at Marist in the MAAC and then got hurt a bunch at Wake Forest and can't shoot. So it wasn't really a power conference guard, but now he's back mid-major bowling ball. I like both these teams, Kai. Didn't end up having a bet on this game because I think I'm higher than the market on both. But if anything, I would lean towards the under.
Yeah, I'm kind of sore at Jack State. I believed in this team for 2 straight years. I gave up hope because they haven't been good. And now they're pretty darn good again. And I've been a little bit low on this team. JMU, still very good under Spradlin. I know they're 3-3 overall, but they've played a really tough schedule. I don't really fault them for losing any of those games. JSU is big, very tough up front. I think that's key against James Madison, who all of a sudden won't have a rebounding edge in this game. And Jack State kind of pounds it inside. James Madison a little vulnerable in the paint. James Madison's gotten smoked this year at the rim using CBB Analytics, little handy-dandy shooting charts. You can see Jack State, they get to the rim, they get to the paint a lot. They do well from there, and James Madison has not been good at defending it. I would lean Jack State at +3 right now. But again, no play for me.
I'll issue a correction, Matt. I did actually bet the under. I actually am on it. Good. So yes.
It felt low to me. Jim, I was with you. It felt low. It's 140.5. JMU laying 3, by the way, just for the side. I
have 142, so I'm not like fully endorsing it at 140. Yeah. What's up?
Jim's a sharp guys. Great. Good for Jim. Kai, to your point, when they take Elijah Everett Hutchins Everett, I don't know what the ordering is. Yeah. When they take him off, they have 0 size James Madison. It's like very much a guard lineup. So, all right, to the Virgin Islands. 2 consolation games. Again, a lot of these better championship games are tomorrow, and then the good stuff starts next week. So, patience is a virtue. UAB Illinois State. This is an interesting matchup, Jim. My first thought when I saw the screen was, wow, this total feels low to me. UAB can't defend anything, in my opinion. Kennedy is continuously frustrated with his team. That's why he's always changing defenses, not because it's like a smart move, just because he's like, well, the man's not working, so we have to try something else. And we know they can score in bunches against an Illinois State team that they're trying to shoot more threes this season. They were abysmal offensively last year. All that has to say is I like the over at 144.5. And UAB is laying 7.5, by the way, at the neutral. Thoughts?
Yeah, I got a little lower number on UAB, -6, but I shouldn't be betting Illinois State games. I never get them right. So if you're out there and you want to fade my lean on an Illinois State game,
out on Ryan Peter.
Maybe backing the Redbirds is a decent idea. Sorry, same. But Matt, I also just added the over as we were talking because it had not been up on my out-of-state PPH until right now. So I'm with you. 144.5. I like the over. I think that gets up and down a little bit. And as you mentioned, Kennedy is just never pleased with his team's defense. So I like the over there as well.
Yeah, this UAB team is not close to the level I expect them to be at. Concerning because I laid 7, Jim, in this game. I was staring at the game. I saw 6.5 go by, and I was like, taking 7, whatever.
Come on over with me, Kai.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
their losses aren't brutal, but they should be taking care of business at home against Vermont. They shouldn't lose to Longwood yesterday. It's a little bit concerning, and it's severe lack of shooting, which kind of puts them behind the 8 ball. They're 357th in the 3-point attempt rate. They're 328 in 3-point percentage. They cannot shoot the 3. And to Jim's point, Illinois State is a whack-a-mole. They can be very good, but they're also very inconsistent. I think UAB needs to be able to exert its will physically on the glass inside to win. Illinois State's a little bit vulnerable in there, but they do have some size, some athleticism. I think they put Walker on Lindeborg. We'll see how that goes. I still think Lindeborg is the best player on the floor in this game by a fair margin.
Yeah. On
the other end, it comes. You guys mentioned the UAB's defense. It really comes down to if Illinois State's hot or cold from 3. If they're hot, they're going to stick around. They might even win this game. If they're cold, I think UAB can win this game by doubles. Illinois State gets 0 second chances on the glass. If they're missing, it's going to be a Blazers route. If they're hitting, Redbirds can win outright.
Yeah, the
live bet alert. Live bet
Yeah.
alert.
Yes.
Cam Jones went down with an injury for Marquette.
Oh.
Don't know if he's going to be out for the game, but that just got tweeted by Ben Steele, their beat writer from the Journal Sentinel. So we'll see. We'll see. So if people are looking to try to get in on that game, maybe that's the reason. Either the under or Georgia. We'll see.
I'm on Georgia, but that's a bummer, folks. Sorry,
it's a huge
Canada.
bummer. He's one of my favorite guys to watch play.
Yeah, he is. He's actually, like, in terms of just pure likability, he's top 5 for me right now in college basketball. Notes on this UAB thing. So funny that Greg Gordon couldn't get into the USVI due to ID issues. Not that he really matters, but Bradley Izirio, their other big guy, was ejected last game. I don't know if he's suspended today, but they only have one big guy. So just of note, like, they had to play a walk-on as the backup to Lindeborg, and I think without him, they just went, like, kind of smaller. So another potential notch in the over belt if you're looking to follow me and Jim's logic there, which you should.
I don't think they played a walk-on. I think they played Will Shaver, who was a North Carolina recruit. That's not quite the same.
Oh yeah, he was at USC. Why is he at UAB and not playing? Is he just?
That's
I thought he's
a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's baffling.
I definitely saw him as like, that's a walk-on. So pardon my.
that's a tough look. That's a
judgment.
tough look for him if you just instinctively thought walk on when you saw him.
It was an uneventful 8 minutes of action from the little I did see. Okay, last game here. We stay in the U.S. Virgin Islands. One of my, I don't know, Jim, is that in your top 10 favorite Caribbean destinations? They runs together with all of the other ones.
Top 10?
Cayman.
Shout out Tim Duncan. That's all I care about
Turks.
the Virgin Islands.
Kai, Louisiana, and George Washington. Two of the tougher, well, actually, no, one team is hard to figure out. That's George Washington, because they actually might be decent with the semi-young core. The other team, I know what they are. They're not very good. And then the Raging Cajuns are beat up with injuries, and I think
Cam Jones is back in. Crisis
good.
Win.
I did throw a little bit on plus 9.5, Georgia. Just a little bit. Just a little small hedge.
Good.
Felt right.
Hey, if you're watching live, you got that in before maybe people at the, well, no, if you're at the arena.
It's probably bad play. But you know what? I'm fine with that. I had too much of Marquette. I didn't like him. So there you go.
Kai, thoughts on the Cajuns here? I guess what I'm trying to set up is I think Louisiana is just a team you don't touch with a 10-foot pole right now. I think this line's pretty insane. Like, you're laying a touchdown on a neutral with two programs that you could have argued were close to equals when I did my previews a month ago. But I've seen enough of Louisiana. They're just they're in shambles, discombobulated. I might just lay it out of pure instinct here.
Yeah, things are dire in Lafayette. The Cajuns are off to a brutal start. They've also played a murderer's row of teams. Let's not
tough schedule. Houston, yeah.
Kent State, Houston, Rice, and Liberty. You've played three of the most brutal defensive. Kent State, Houston, Liberty is like war. So I'm not ready to bury them quite yet. And George Washington's looked strong against bad teams, and they hung it with K-State. I don't know if you have your opinion on K-State, but I don't think they're very good right now. I don't think George Washington is 7 points better than Louisiana. Every advanced stat right now is heavily skewed because of Louisiana's competition. I think they can beat this. I think they can keep this game competitive, Jim. This team is closer to level, like Matt said. I took 7.5.
Okay, yeah, I didn't bet it. It's George Washington shouldn't be making K-State look good. You do all the transitive stuff with K-State of they barely beat Mississippi Valley State. They got whomped by LSU, who got handled by Pitt, et cetera. None of that works out well for K-State, but they did look good yesterday. In this game, Louisiana, I think the one thing that I believe is going to be real is the bad rebounding. I know they played Houston, but really good rebounding teams, but still their rates are terrible. And Kitenge, their best big man, got hurt before the season started, double machine. So I kind of buy that being an issue going forward. George Washington's not like an internal heft to take advantage of that. So it's not like a major weakness here. But yeah, Matt, I'm not sold enough on George Washington to back them. And I don't like Louisiana right now until I see a little bit better performance without Coutinho. So setting this one out.
Yeah, I mean Rafael Castro. I think this is a game where if you're betting props, I think he could have like 20 and 15 if Caputo decides to prioritize him. Shouts to former Providence role player, I guess. Let's go to chat mob round 2. Kyle.
Yes, Matthew, and I'm gonna write down my timestamp here if you don't mind. Hey, here's a game. Who are they playing? I can't read my handwriting. Oh, I got it. Here we go.
I'm ready.
I got it. Matthew, it's for you. Eastern Washington and Cal Baptist. I think Baptist
yes.
is laying 6 or 7 currently. Your thoughts?
I was gonna hockey pass this to Jim because I know he was a CalBap guy preseason. I've watched a couple times, Jim. I'm not a CalBap guy. Dom Daniels is fun. The rest of the team doesn't play any defense, and for that reason, I kind of like the over 153.
Yeah, I backed Cal Baptist again today. This might be my line in this excuse me, might be my line in the sand game with them. If they can't take care of business here, then perhaps they never will. This is a team that I've spent way too much time on their shot quality page recently. They've covered every game by shot quality final score, so I'm like clinging to they're just underperforming expectations so far. But that might just be wrong at this point. So lean Cal Baptist, but nothing strong.
A tough one, Matthew. Tulsa, Loyola, Chicago. Hey, here's what I think. I think Tulsa's bad, and I don't think they're priced correctly in the market at all. But Loyola has me kind of questioning my preseason rating on them as well, the way they've kind of started out of the gate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Loyola's really good. I don't know if Loyola's proven that they're really good though, because they beat Princeton at Princeton, which that win will not age well. It's already not aging very well, and they just squeaked by Southern Utah at home, and before that they beat Detroit and Chicago State. So I still believe Loyola's very good. I don't want to lay points with the Ramblers, Shim. It's just a team I don't like laying points with. They don't play consistent enough offensively. I don't think they get easy shots sometimes, and their games tend to skew toward drag out mud fights than like up and down, which is, I don't know, kind of the style you want to get into. Now, Tulsa can't guard anything. So I don't know. I'm kind of with Kai on Tulsa. Their defense is a major question mark, but you have to trust the offense too, in my opinion, to lay like double digits here. So I didn't do it.
All right. Question on Detroit, Mercy, and Wake. Jim, I laid it with Wake. All right. My last talk about line in the sand. Last time I bet on them almost every game.
What'd you get?
22.
What'd you get?
22.
Okay. Because, yeah, they've taken money, and I should have bet them at a lower number, and I didn't. I think hopefully you have the winner there, Kai. I mean, how can they really never cover a bye game? That's all they did last year.
I know. And Detroit has been better than last season for sure, but I still think they are quite a bit worse than Wake. And hopefully this is like a get right game for Wake Forest. Okay. Hey, I'm on this game as well. Queens and USC Upstate. I'll go to Jim. Jim, I said in the Discord, USC Upstate has played really well this season. I think they are a little bit better than where they're at in KenPom. Every game's been competitive against some pretty solid competition, but I did lay it with Queens. I took a -2.5.
Yeah, Queens is another team I think has had some pretty unfortunate luck and a brutal schedule. Like they're depressed in analytical rankings because they went to Utah and BYU on back-to-back days and got demolished by both teams. And then against App State, they could not shoot. I think like 6 of 35 from deep. I still stubbornly think this team's a little better than they've showed. Upstate also pretty solid. I got burned on day one fading NC State. Kai, I got to stop fading NC State.
Yeah,
they might just be decent.
Yeah.
But Upstate, yeah, Mr. Dean is a complete monster. Great name and awesome player. There's been a lot of burner discord like, all right, where's he transferring to next year? Where's he getting the bag from? And it's probably inevitable, but he's really, really talented. But Kai, I'm with you. This is my cue. Queens.
Matthew, Bellarmine and Bowling Green. I laid it with Bowling Green. It's now -5 though. I don't know if I would do 5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't. I don't trust Bowling Green's defense enough. I just don't. I know it's a small number, but I just don't think they guard. We love Marcus Johnson. I think he's starting to elevate it to notoriety. People see him going viral on Twitter, but
dude, they talked about him on Pardon My Take. That's how he got talked about on Pardon My Take. Yes. Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
Big Cat was just like, he's a big boy that shoots.
He is so skilled. But man, me and you, all three of us could just go right by him on the perimeter. So that's sort of the give take there with him.
It's worth pointing out how bad Bellarmine has been this season, and
yeah,
we don't know the status of Jack Karasinski. One of their best.
It's like back spasms or something.
The fact that he's one of their best players should tell you how bad they are. That guy was an okay player for William and Mary, previously.
And that might be being generous,
Yes.
calling him okay.
Okay. Hey, South Carolina State, IU Indy. Jim, you love IU Indy, don't you? I did take IU Indy plus 5.5 in this one. What do you think?
IU Indy is what people Cal Poly is what people thought IU Indy would be.
Yeah.
And IU Indy has been terrible. They're still rated like bottom 5 in the country. Analytically, they're getting mostly lined that way, and they're still not covering. They're just not very good right now. The 3 best players from that D2 team that Corsaro coach did not come with. They, I think, graduated and exhausted eligibility. So he brought like players 5 through 8 or 4 through 7 from an okay, like a solid D2 team, not a top 20 team. So I think they still kind of stink, but I didn't bet this one.
Matt, question on the total in BYU, Mississippi Valley State. BYU can name how many points it wants to score, but will MVSU score enough to throw it over or keep it under? Thoughts?
144. I'll go over.
Over. BYU
too.
will score 100 points.
I think they will.
Yep.
Yes.
Will Mississippi
also-
Valley State score 44?
Maybe BYU team total. That's probably
Yeah.
what you do here.
I was gonna say I was gonna almost endorse a Mississippi Valley State plus 45, but no, should I not do that?
No.
I laid it with BYU.
Mississippi Valley State elevation. Yeah.
Did what you lay 45 or 41? Not that it matters.
42.
Okay.
Yeah, it reminds me of what was the game? Oh, my numbers told me to bet Kentucky under yesterday. And I'm like, I'm not taking a Mark Pope buy game under.
Yep.
I'm not taking a BYU buy game under. They're just going to score 1 million.
Jim, I'm surprised this one, frankly, with the way Vermont's been playing, I'm surprised that they've taken money. They're up to 7.5 in some places. I thought about laying it against Delaware, but I stayed away. I can't trust Vermont right now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I bet the 5. I have John Becker with 2 points of closing line value, and I have no confidence. Like, they've been awful this year. They do not seem like they're synced up, despite having kind of a lot of continuity. Our guy Tanner McGrath, the A East whisperer, has said they just don't seem like they have the chemistry figured out. Shamir Bogues looks like he's taking a step back, but I did take them at 5. I would not recommend it at 7. I would not.
I think Bogues has been playing hurt or something. I thought I heard him mention
He's
that.
had several
always
games
hurt.
with like 0 points and not really doing much. Strange. They will be fine. They'll win the America East. Matthew,
Yeah.
Portland State, St. Thomas. I feel like you like both these teams. St. Thomas
I do.
is
What's
laying
not to love?
2.5.
Tommy's got hammered from like
They
plus
did.
2 to -2.
They got bet big yesterday. That was wrong. Wofford wire to wire domination.
That was
there.
surprising a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, talk about stylistic going from night and day. You go to methodical Wofford execution, which is sort of like how St. Thomas plays, to what the hell is happening chaos with Portland State. I don't know who dictates pace here. This is one of the more fascinating totals handicaps. Like this is, I think we saw movement both ways early this morning. 152. I tend to think that St. Thomas will make this more nip and tucky. I think I'm close to taking Portland State at this number, though. I think they're the better team. I just don't know if I like them.
Ooh, I disagree
Yeah.
hard. The better team. St. Thomas is better for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I took St. Thomas.
Happily laid with Milwaukee yesterday. Yes.
Same. The one thing that's weird about St. Thomas is their by far highest usage guy is a D3 transfer from Wisconsin with a 90 O rating. So maybe a red flag for them, but I still think they're really good.
I will. Hey, question in the chat. Discord. Yes, we have a Discord with Trilly Donovan. It's fantastic. We're talking bets every single day in that chat. We give our best bets every single day in that chat. This is the only show we do on a weekly basis, but we are chatting all the time in there. The link to sign up for the Discord is in the description to this video. Click on it. Join us. Join the chat. It's fantastic. We love it. So much fun. We have 2 more games to get through and then best bets. I'm going with Madigan, UIC. You've been to this place. You've been to the arena. Credit One.
The
I think is
Pavilion.
What it called? The Pavilion. Yeah.
The Pavilion, I think. Yeah, the house that Lingfest built is what some call it.
They're neutral floor against East Carolina. East Carolina's small favorite, 1.5.
The fact that I have not bet like 5 units on East Carolina just goes to show how much I'm sick of this team and I've given up on them. I thought they've just been all year underwhelming. So I'm going to stay away and respect the talent that I think we've seen in small spurts from the Flames, like serious skill on this team. So props to Easton. Got some dudes.
Jim, whenever the MAC plays at the Horizon, I get confused and think, aren't these teams in the same conference? That's the case today with Kent State and Cleveland State. 2 teams that feel like they're in the same conference. Kent State's laying 2 on the road. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's weird that all these Ohio teams are in different conferences. That doesn't add up. I took Kent State. I like them a little more. I've backed Cleveland State a couple times this year. successfully against, was it Michigan, Kai, that we took them?
And Valpo.
Yes,
Yeah,
Cleveland State.
Yeah,
They played Kansas State,
Kansas
Minnesota,
State.
Minnesota as well.
Minnesota. That's the one we just
Yep.
took them on recently. Both of us. I think it was one of your best bets in the Discord. Yeah, I like Kent State. I think they're maybe the best team in the MAC. Solinger has actually looked really good. He's been coming off the bench as his penance for transferring and then coming back. But I think that team is legit. Senderoff's a great coach, and they're just a little more talented than Cleveland State right now.
All right, love it. Here we go with best bets. I thought I had something else to add. I'm not so sure I do. Best bets. I already said my best bet. Hey, subscribe, by the way, to YouTube channel. Like the video, please, and sign up for Discord. All that stuff's great. My best bet was Coastal Carolina, -2 against Alabama A&M. Jim's best bet was?
Long Beach State, Fresno under 142. And I'm also going to throw in, I'm going to vandalize our chat here, vandalize our video. I'm going Idaho +3.5 against Southern Utah, I believe. Yeah, Southern Utah.
Yes.
So Southern Utah played yesterday. Idaho did not. This is another one of those games where it's like the three-way MTE thing. And I'm going with the well-rested team there. I like Idaho.
Was Southern Utah at San Diego yesterday?
Yeah, it's
yes,
San
this
Diego
game is
thing.
at San Diego at the Slim
San
Jim.
Diego, Southern Utah, and Idaho are in the same little pod ski. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
San Diego, it's great
Go ahead.
because they're a mid-major. They don't have to travel at all because everyone wants to go play at San Diego. So, like, if you play for Steve Lavin, you just get to sit at home the whole time in San Diego for your non-con. Kind of cool. Oh, my best bet. I have not presented that yet. I will now Santa Clara. Just think it's their game. I really do. Yeah.
What do you
Defend
got?
the 3-point
What's the
line.
number?
+1 pretty consistently. I'm stunned that there's not been more money coming in on Santa Clara, but maybe there's just a respect out there for Kyle Smith and data rate. You know what? There should be. So
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Stanford hasn't taken more money. I expect
Really?
You want +1.5? You want +1.5?
no, I don't want the hook.
Okay.
I'll probably just go money line. I don't like taking anything under 2. Like if it's +1.5, -1.5, I might as well just take the money line. Never falls 1 unless when it does. When it does.
Yes.
Final parting thoughts here. Live updates. Looks like Marquette's controlling Jim. Or you have eyes on this game, despite the
No,
injury
it's
to
on
Cam
Flow
Jones?
Hoops. Of course, I don't have eyes on it.
Good.
I
That'll
will
be watched
never
by
pay for
nobody.
Flow Hoops. I will never pay.
I did pay for the Greenbrier stream. Not a great broadcast. So $20 down the drain. It's a write-off though, Kai. It's a write-off, which basically means it's free. So that's good.
That's how it works.
Yeah, the last week Greenbrier. This week's Greenbrier's on CBS.
Oh, so yeah,
Sports.
last week's was the mid-major one, and now they got the big boys this week. That's on
I
CBS Sports.
see Stetson's winning against LaSalle. Great. Stetson, a team that I've been on every game they haven't covered yet. And LaSalle,
me
a team
too.
I fade every game. Then they've crushed me. Good. Good.
LaSalle walked out of their beautifully built arena, and then they forgot how to play basketball. So get them back in Tom Gola or whatever the new thing is. It the new Tom Gola? They're good there. They're not good away from there. That's all we have today. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go Hoosiers on the gridiron. And yes, we will spin off into our Saturdays.